Oh, they want to choose an assessor. They give me a list. So what do you think?
Well, there's only one name I recognise. I recognise a couple, but one that you're familiar with is Patrick Daniels.
Patrick Daniels. He rings a bell. Have I seen him before?
Yeah.
Right, Patrick Daniels. What's his report like before?
Yeah, I can't remember. I think he had some issues. I think he had some issues with his report.
I had some issues. Well, you wouldn't go back and see him if I've got issues with his report, would you?
No.
I think he might have been the one that said, told me how to go and buy a gun.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think that's what the issues were.
The other names are Amanda Renfree,
Come here.
John Joseph.
Right. What is this assessment actually going to do for me?
Well, the referral is specifically for
Post-traumatic stress.
Yeah, post-traumatic stress.
Oh, to assess whether I do suffer post-traumatic stress.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think there's any question about that, Dave. Do you?
Yeah, it's definitely indicators.
Dave, you don't sleep for 4 days at a time. You sweat like a pig. You're hot and cold sweats all day, all night. You're living your case 24 hours a day. You're living every issue. You're living their court cases. You're living their prison inside and out. You're living their mental asylum inside and out. Give me a break, will you? Yes? Right, so when did they send this letter?
It came yesterday. I just opened it up.
What, you mean because I riled them right up? Did you see what I did with I actually used my brain for once.
What did you do?
I went through the agreements and I wrote out everything they breached. The first agreement, the false declaration made in my name. The second agreement, not adhering to addressing the Peter Brown lies to MP. Not paying your legal bills. Not adhering to restoring my life to the best it can be. And outlining the fact that Abacus were not a third party experienced provider. And hadn't got a clue what they were doing. Then I went on to agreement number 3, when they defrauded me of 14% tax, and they said they agreed that they were going to address everything and put everything right. And I also mentioned that the setting me up in my own self-employed business and giving me the best medical treatment money could buy. And what I got was a prison and a mental asylum. And then shut up shop. So when you actually go through the agreements, Dave, the agreements are the evidence that they were acting with corruption and criminality from the start and gaslighting my life. And then using the agreements to hide behind.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that or would you not?
Yeah, they've been, yeah, they haven't looked
Well,
to rehabilitate you.
Well, Dave, that's when it comes into slavery, okay? That's when you're not getting rehabilitated. The laws of legislation are not applying in my case. They're not upholding their own agreements. And they're trying to get rid of my claim for free. They're then leaving me with more injuries than I started with. Right? And they're not compensating me because the minimum wage now is more than my fucking wage is when I had my accident 20 years ago. You understand that?
Yeah.
So you've got a $19 minimum wage. I was on $20 an hour 24 years ago. Now, how can you go from $20 an hour working 70 hours a week? I work 7 days a week. And how do you end up with an income of $550. Can you explain that to me? I was taking home $1,200-1,300 a week, Dave. Sometimes 15. The only time I ever stopped work was when I had to go to Ireland for my mum's funeral for 2 weeks. That was the only time I didn't work. So how do you go from $20 an hour, 7 days a week, to earning $550-600 and then being 80% out of that? It might have been, they might have given me $700 and then they give me 80% out of that. How do you work that out? I was a carpenter foreman, Dave, working 7 days a week. Can you explain that?
Well, it all depends what the employer put on the form.
Well, you see, this is the whole problem. You see, the employer was paying me cash, so I couldn't argue what he'd put on the form. This is the whole problem.
Yeah.
So, but I can prove that I work 7 days a week. I can prove that I was in $20 an hour.
You got to put in timesheets, right?
No, you had to put in, yeah, somebody had to put in timesheets. Somebody had to put in timesheets, but it was the foreman who did it, not us. We just had a clock in and clock out. We'd clock in at 7 a.m. every morning and clock out at 7 p.m. every night. Well, I would, because I was in charge. I'd clock in maybe 8 a.m. on a Saturday and Sunday, and clock out maybe 5, maybe 6, depending on what needed to be done.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's literally, look, at the end of the day, it still comes down to, why did Ailsa Duffy leave out the Queen's, you know, the false declaration made in my name? Why did you allow her to leave it out? Because that's really now a real major part of my argument in all the agreements. What are you doing? Dave?
Organising stuff.
Dave, you sound like you're in a hallway.
I can get out of here.
You sound like you're in a hallway.
Oh, I'm in a big room.
Right, but what I'm actually saying to you is that false declaration now is a major part, and it's relevant. It's more relevant now than it was then, in relation to my arguments over all the agreements being used for a crime and to turn my life into slavery. Do you understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
Right, so ACC now is sending me an assessment, what? Knowing that I can't get any assessments now before Christmas?
Yeah, exactly.
So what's the story? Probably because I told the Prime Minister, if she doesn't have my life back on track by the beginning of February, I'm gonna fucking turn it into a last resort. And I meant every fucking word of it. So this is a start. The question is, who do I go to?
Yeah, well, the names are there.
Well,
Go through them, put them in Google, see what comes out. Go to the ACC Appeal Decisions website.
why?
Put the names in there and see what decisions come up.
Dave, I
Whether
can't.
they were
Dave,
for or against.
Dave, I wouldn't be able to do that. I wouldn't even be able to start to do that. You're asking me to do something that I am incapable of doing. You're asking me to do research, and my brain can't even work right.
Alright, well, I guess I'll have to do it for you then.
Well, that would be quite kind of you, actually. The point is that you're asking me to do things that I am incapable of doing. Now, all I've been doing over the last 6 months is falling over, Dave. Whatever's going on with my neck, whatever's going on with it's like, I think I've driven to the shop maybe 4 or 5 times, which is only just down the street. And you get out of the car and you think you're falling over. It could be a bit of vertigo, But at the end of the day, I think it's more to do with my neck and my arms and sweating like a pig, you know. So I also have the thing. Come here, can you tell me Jagged Hewage, okay? Now Dave, he's got a brain injury. I seen that when I went to visit him. He gets headaches 24/7. He cries. He wakes up screaming in the middle of the night. I saw that as well. I saw that firsthand. Dave, he did not get any ACC payments when they threw him out of the country.
Yeah.
So I've sent you previously his medical certificates from Sri Lanka, post-traumatic stress, brain injury. He's half blind, so he can't see, he can't do his job. His sinuses, but he's bleeding from his sinuses a lot. He's been bleeding now for 13 months, but they did tell him before he left that if that bursts, they won't be able to fix it, he'll die. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
He was supposed to get a check on it every 6 months, but they threw him out of the country anyway. Can you, in any way, find out where he stands with that, or go to a review or an appeal and see if he can get assessed or brought back to the country and get properly assessed, or get somebody to go there and properly assess him?
Yep.
Is that possible?
Yeah, it's possible.
Right. So in his in the emails that I sent you previously with all his medical certificates and stuff, he also has doctor's letters relating to post-traumatic stress from a doctor in Australia who is Sri Lankan, who did see him before he left, but then he left to go to Australia. Okay, so he definitely has some there, but I think he was entitled to income, even though he was imprisoned, for what he was earning before he went to prison. Do you understand me?
Yeah.
Right, because in Sri Lanka he's never going to earn even close to that, Dave, even if he was being abated. But he's still entitled to something. And I have done, I've asked for information in relation to photographs of his injuries and any criminal investigations that took place. Dave, all I've seen is a brick wall. They didn't do any criminal investigation. They shut it up. They threw it onto the carpet. Even though the guy was in surgery for 5.5, 6 hours. And then they drove him around all over the place and wouldn't let anybody contact him. Didn't give him any victim support. Didn't give him any help, assistance or support. And this guy was coming off drugs. This guy jumped on his head when he was laying on the floor. And he was sleeping. Do you understand me?
Yeah. Yeah.
And when I seen the cell, Dave, there was he probably lost about 2 pints of blood. He was bleeding that badly. There was blood everywhere. All over the walls, all over the floor. Everywhere. You know what I mean? So there's that issue as well. So what they've tried to do is throw him out of the country, out of sight, out of mind, and shut up shop and literally let his attacker get away with it. You with me?
Yeah.
Now, while he was in there, I tried to get him out of the cell that he was in because I knew the guy he had big and small pupils all the time. I offered him cigarettes to get him to move. I even said to the guards, I says, this guy is going to go off. You know he's dangerous. I know he's dangerous. You moved him from one cell into his cell. Can you explain why? Is it because Jagged told me about what you were telling all the prisoners about what I was in there for? Because they were telling them I was in there for sex offences, Dave. Not in there for threat to kill a government official. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Right. That's what they were doing in there to me. You know, there's a lot of things you don't realise. Every day was fighting for your life. Every day was trying to watch your back 24/7. Do you understand that? It wasn't a piece of cake. It was a really hard time. It was a really, really hard time. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
So, can you do anything, or are you just going to say, yeah, and do nothing?
and try and do something.
Right. So what I want you to do is I want you to, if you look at my video online in relation to me interviewing Jagath, you'll see he's not fully with it. He doesn't understand the English language half the time.
Yeah.
He doesn't understand. It's like he'll pause and he'll say something, and then it's like, I asked him how long he was in Wellington previously, and he said 4 months or something in Wellington. They kept me in a lockup 23 hours a day. And I was crying to the ombudsman and crying to get out of there. I had no newspapers, no TV, no books, no magazines, nothing. Just sitting in a cell, like isolated from everyone. And I couldn't even talk to anyone for 4 months. And then the next time I talked to him, he said 2 months, 3 months. You know, it's his mind is not, it's not clear, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's just a lot of things that just point to the fact he's got a brain injury, Dave. But he definitely suffers post-traumatic stress, and he definitely was almost murdered in there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the guards are responsible for what happened to him, really, and so are the doctors. So that's why they covered it up, because they all knew they fucked up. And for me to be in there for a psychiatric evaluation, Dave, just left it all the more ironic at the fact that here I am diagnosing a mentally ill patient coming off drugs, and they couldn't do it. Do you not think that's laughable? Do you not think that's laughable? Are you there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Right. Do you think that's laughable or not?
Yeah, for sure.
Right. Now the other thing is, what else were we talking about? Oh, the GP. I went to the Health and Disability Commission, nothing. Put the videos online, nothing. These advocates don't know how to be advocates, Dave.
Yeah.
They want the patient to do all the running around. They want the victim to do all the running around. And they want you to sit there and talk to them over a phone. They send a letter to somebody. What kind of customer services, what kind of help, assistance, support is that shit? So what am I going to end up doing with the GP, because I don't have one?
When do you need a medical certificate, Nick?
I don't know. I'm getting out of here in February anyway, one way or the other.
Yeah.
So, well, you know I'm getting out of here. I told you. I'm not staying here for too long. So all this assessment better be done by February. And all these reports better be brought in. And as for treatment, I'm still getting out of here in February. So, I don't trust anybody in this country, Dave, with treatment, to be perfectly frank. So, I don't know. An ACC can't be involved in the management of my claim either. So what's going to happen there?
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, do you think I'm mad?
No.
Do you think I'm insane?
No.
Criminally insane?
No.
Do you think I could be if they pushed me too far?
Anyone could be.
No, I'll just be premeditated and retaliating against them. You see, it benefits them to repeal the laws of criminal provocation, Dave. It doesn't benefit me, because this enables their slavery to become what it is, slavery. Right. Can you do me one last favour? Can you find out exactly how much extra tax they charged me when they reinstated my entitlements? How much was that 14% payment? Because Inland Revenue is not telling me sweet feck all. So can you get me the exact amount, because I need it? Yes or no? Right. When are you heading out for Christmas?
In 5 minutes.
Right. When can you do that assessment thing?
I can look at it over the next week.
Right, so if you do it and you send me an email of which one you're picking, and or give me a call and discuss it with me and give me your insight.
Yeah.
The other thing is, do you have the Peter Dean video?
Do I?
Well, you should have.
Somewhere.
Right, we need that. We're going to need that. Because I want to hammer this fucker for what he didn't do. And I want to hammer ACC for what they prevented him from doing. Because that's really what happened, Dave. You know it and I know it. So we need that video. To prove that he didn't do an assessment. You with me? Right. Anyway. So you're getting out of here. And you're not going to work Monday or Tuesday then? When are you back to work?
On the 6th.
So what, you're not going overseas for a holiday?
No.
Right. So, look, there was other things I wanted to discuss with you, but I'm going to let you go on holiday because I'm quite happy now you've got an assessment. And you've got a time and date for it. And it means they're listening, Dave, for the first time ever.
Yeah.
What do you mean, yeah?
I agree.
Right. So they're actually listening now, aren't they? Right. So, I don't know. How does that make you feel that they're listening?
Yeah, well, it's about time.
Well, 20 years is a long time. So, yeah. So they obviously got to the point where he's not going to take this laying down. And the videos online just condemn them to hell. Yes?
Yeah.
Right. So, let's go for it. Right. What previous medical reports are they going to use with any assessor?
What's that?
Are they going to send any previous medical reports?
Yeah, they have to.
Right. Well, we have a problem then, don't we?
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to allow someone to take the past abuses by medical experts and professionals and then try and literally move on from where they fucking left off. So we're going to have a problem then, because none of these reports have ever been rectified or corrected.
Yeah.
So where's that going to leave us in terms of that?
Means I have to probably see you a couple of times.
Right. Well, that's what's necessary.
Do the assessment and write their report, share it with you, and allow you the opportunity to explain or discuss with them, some of their conclusions, and if they've referred to other reports,
Yeah.
then getting it right.
Right. Now, do you need to be present at this assessment or no?
Well, are you gonna
Sorry?
record it?
Fucking right. Do you think I'm going to take any chances not recording it? Do you think I'm going to take any chances not recording it?
So maybe that's the first question, that goes to see which of these assessors are happy to be recorded.
Yeah, that's the first question you need to ask. So, yeah, that's a good question. There you go. And are they happy to pay your services to attend to record it?
Yeah.
Right, so there you go. So that'll show then exactly if they're serious about rehabilitation or if they're just doing it to appease the Prime Minister. You understand me?
Yeah.
Personally, I think they're doing it to appease the Prime Minister, or the ACC minister's in trouble anyway. But I think after putting up those agreements and showing they breached every agreement and committed crimes, I think that really bit them up the ass, Dave. They can't dispute any of them. They can't argue any of it. Well, they can argue it, but they can't win. Because they claimed I breached the agreement. I wrote on the email and even put it online. Yes, I told everybody exactly what they agreed with me after they breached their agreement. Is that correct or is that not correct? Is that correct or not correct?
I don't know.
Dave, they didn't pay your legal bills. They didn't give me a third party experienced. They didn't plan to restore my life to the best it can be. They didn't give me the best medical treatment money can buy. They didn't address the lies to MP Peter Brown. So they broke the agreement first. Yes?
Yeah.
Right. So then I told everybody what was agreed, which was I was well within my rights. What do they want? They want to break the agreement and then tell me, oh, well, you just have to keep your mouth shut. Are you kidding me? You can't tell anybody what we agreed to, that you can't tell anybody that we're breaching our agreement. Are you kidding me? Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. So, did they breach the agreement before I did, or did they not?
Yeah, they did.
Thank you. So, at the end of the day, they're coming out and they're lying at review hearings. They're falsifying their information. They're committing perjury in the review hearings through their lawyer and claiming that I breached their agreement. And they're claiming that's why they made it null and void, which is a big, downright lie, correct?
Yeah.
So there you go. Right, now I've got my head through that. I still have to live this 24/7. Did you know my income under ACC is about $3 an hour, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? That's $16 less than the minimum wage, Dave. Where's the fairness in that?
Yeah.
Right, anyway. So, I don't know. How well do you think I'm doing?
Well, sounding all right.
Say that again?
You're sounding better than I've heard you before.
That's probably because I had a sleep for the first time in a week. But no, it's not easy, Dave. I live it every day. And it's probably because I'm not drinking much either. So that's helping a lot. Yeah, I'm just having a couple of beers now. You know, I've cut right down. Before I was drinking every day, every night, just getting pissed. You know, just to kill the pain, just to kill the gaslighting of my life, you know what I mean? Just to try and not to think. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I want to try and get myself better. Because I didn't get better, I got worse, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Now I'm going to take a call from my daughter.
All right then, have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year and a Happy Birthday after that.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
Thanks very much. Right, and say that again. Oh yeah. Don't forget to do Hueyage if you get a chance. Just look at it. If you could just take an hour. His email address is also attached, Dave. Prasanna Hueyage, okay? Or Prasanna Jack. You'll be able to talk to him directly, and he'll be able to send you other stuff that he has. If you need to contact him, but give him a chance, Dave, because he's really His English isn't the greatest. He was gaslighted by Hoskin as well. And I think he was more frightened to lose his life and spend 16 years or 20 years behind bars for a crime that didn't add up. It didn't stack up. I'm not saying he didn't have an argument with his wife, but he didn't kidnap her. The evidence proves that. She was a cunning, clever little bitch, to be honest. And the police gave her all his belongings when they weren't living together after they split up. And they were only married for 10 months, Dave.
Yeah.
They were only married for 10 months. So she wasn't entitled to half of everything. He asked me to go and pick his car up and sell it for him and put money in his account. But the police told her she could sell the car.
Yeah.
So, there's other issues, Dave, that were illegal and criminally motivated. Do you know what I mean? So that would probably be an IPCA job in relation to the corruption and criminality behind police decisions. Do you know what I mean? But I haven't got the energy to do that, Dave. I'm just I want to help the little guy as much as I can, but he's got a son. He's happily married for the last 9 years. And his wife takes care of him. She had to give up her job to take care of him. So, there's videotapes of her being interviewed as well if you need to see them. And you can see the tears in her eyes, man. She's just... Anyway, you know where I'm coming from. All right?
Yeah.
All right, I'll talk to you later, all right?
Yeah.
All right, take care. Thanks. Bye.